Hello and welcome to the Vaults of Terra. My name is Ed and today we're going to be looking at the history of the Dark Eldar, specifically at the history of their Dark City, known as Commorragh. Now, intrinsically tied to the history of the Dark Eldar, the city of Commorragh is a remnant of the Eldar Empire. Before the fall, the city was a port within the Webway, created at a nexus between different Webway routes that allowed the Eldar of the Empire to travel vast distances in a tiny fraction of the usual travel time, even when travelling through the warp. The city was established in the 18th millennium by human reckoning by the Eldar, quickly becoming one of their greatest node port cities, the model around which other node port cities were based. Its immense size allowed for the housing of vast transport fleets to deliver goods between different planets within the Eldar Empire, and also provide access to far-flung parts of real space beyond the Eldar Empire itself, allowing them to stay abreast of galactic events. Due to its importance, it was granted autonomy from the other elements of the Eldar Empire, becoming a self-regulated city-state hidden in the heart of the Webway. A side effect of this was the city was beyond many of the Empire's laws, attracting those who wished to hide misdeeds and provide sanctuary to the Eldar's rare criminal element. As the wealth of Commorragh grew, it began to expand its power, altering its borders and absorbing other locations within the Webway, such as smaller port cities, sub-realms, and private estates, turning Commorragh from merely a large city to a truly massive metropolis, feeding on the wealth of these other realms as it grew. By the time of the fall in the 30th millennium, Commorragh was one of the most powerful fixed locations to survive the devastation, isolated from the fall by the walls of the Webway network. As such, it was also the only location in which the unrepentant, sadistic, and hedonistic Eldar remained, a remnant of their decadent empire. Over the next 1,000 years, the noble families of the Dark Heart of Commorragh exerted their influence, turning the city into a twisted vision of the Eldar Empire in its darkest days. Unfortunately for these new Dark Eldar, it was soon discovered that their souls were at just as much risk as those of their lighter kin outside the Webway when they died. Having banished or killed all their remaining psykers in the city, whilst forcefully removing their psychic powers from their own genetics, the Dark Eldar could not use the Soul Stones or an Infinity Circuit to preserve their souls after death from Slaanesh. Somehow, the Dark Eldar discovered their way to feed on the emotions of others, specifically the negative emotions like pain or fear, using this to sustain their bodies and allowing them to remain alive for thousands of years, addicted to the suffering of others and raiding real space for slaves to feed this addiction known as the thirst. Despite their long lives, there is apparently only one who was present during the fall, and who remains today the leader of the Dark Eldar, the supreme lord of the Cabal of the Dark Heart, known as Asdrubal Vecht. Claiming that he has been alive since the fall, the Dark Master of Commorragh maintains an iron grip on the noble houses, the cabals, and the witch cults through the political cunning and combat savagery that few others can match. Unfortunately, only he is truly old enough to know if his statement is actually true, as almost no other Eldar remain from that time. However, it is known that he did come to power in the 35th millennium, achieving total dominance over the city and ruling in place of the other nobility, who were virtually wiped out during an imperial raid around that time. In the 38th millennium, the city suffered another raid, this time by orcs. The city was badly damaged, but they captured over 10,000 orcs at the end of this battle to use in the witch cult's gladiatorial arenas, which helped feed the city for many years. Now, in the 41st millennium, after the rebirth of Iverain, the city of Commorragh has suffered a massive disjunction, allowing the walls of the Webway to part and the warp to stream into the city. Much has been destabilised, and Vecht has been forced to one of his outposts whilst demons run rampant through the city, with other factions, witch cults, cabals and homunculi fighting for control amidst the chaos. The city itself is a sight to behold. It is a composite entity made from multiple different realms within the Webway, bending perception of it with buildings rising from every angle like dark spines and jagged teeth, both amazing and terrifying to behold. Technically, many elements of the city are thousands of light years apart within the Webway, but thanks to the strange physics of the Webway, they can all appear together, folded together like multiple sheets of paper folded into one shape. The city itself is covered with runic wards, formerly to keep out intruders from the warp, and now being used to hold the city together in whatever form it can manage. This terrifying city has been host to many rumours about its composition and existence, even among the races outside the Dark Eldar, rumours springing up from legends and tales told by apparent escaped slaves from this inescapable city. The city itself is powered by Ilmea, or stolen suns, taken from the Materium into the Webway to fuel the city's power needs, a technique copied from the Eldar Empire itself. The city's location in the Webway relative to the material universe has never been recorded correctly, but it is known that its position within the Webway allows the Dark Eldar to travel throughout the galaxy, harvesting slaves without ever depleting their sources. The city itself is split up into many different regions, most controlled by a cabal, with witch cult gladiatorial arenas in many different cabal locations with allied witch cults to cabals, along with homoculi, usually having labs beneath the surface of the city, occupying these locations in cabal territories in return for assistance for the cabal in times of conflict. So that's everything I had to mention on the Dark City today. It was a short overview of it itself. I will continue on with more about the Dark Eldar at a later date. However, at our next video's juncture, we will be looking into another ancient race, those known as the Necrons, looking into some of their history, along with a little bit more about what separates them from the other races of the 41st millennium. So, I hope you've enjoyed the video today. If you have a comment, leave it in the comments section or send me a personal message on YouTube. Otherwise, I will see you next time on the Vaults of Terra.